Chair recognizes Representative Rodriguez of Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This is the breakfast bill that we passed yesterday. I have not heard any opposition from many of you. Both of these bills, the House bill and the Senate bill, were unanimously voted out of the committees in the House and the Senate with bipartisan support. This bill encourages school campuses that are already participating in the National School Breakfast Program, where 80% or more of their students qualify for free reduced price meals, to provide breakfast to all. I move passage.
Members, is there anyone wishing to speak on, for, or against Senate Bill 376?
Mr. Speaker.
Representative Patrick, for what purpose?
Would the gentleman yield for a quick
Will the gentleman yield?
I will.
Yes, I wanted to see if this is something that is required or is it permissive?
It is an opt-out bill.
An opt-out?
Opt-out.
So school districts are automatically in unless they do what?
School districts that have 80% of their students who qualify for free or reduced price meals are automatically in. They can opt out every year during their board meeting. They can opt out every year. That was a provision that I worked with TASB and Association of School Administrators and other groups to get that opt-out language in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. And also TCC is in support of this bill. I move passage.
Representative Huberty, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield for a quick question?
Will the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Representative Rodriguez, we heard this in our committee, I believe, and or one of the committees, and I don't believe there was any opposition from any of after you did all the work on this with all the school people. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And you did, as you said, the school board, TASB, and TASA, and all
Absolutely.
them are supportive of this, and this does provide a local control option for the schools, does it not?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move passage.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Stickland, for what purpose?
does the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
Yield.
Mr. Rodriguez, can you just explain to me this a little bit more than what we've heard so far? So some school districts who have 80% or more who are on free or reduced lunches, this would allow them to give free lunches to the people,
Free breakfasts to all their students.
to the people who aren't considered.
It would allow them to give it to all, to provide it for all their students if they're doing that. The reason why is there's no.
So we're going to give out free lunches to everybody if they don't opt out.
No. I put in from the Texas Conservative Coalition language that says the students who do not qualify will not qualify under this bill either. What we're trying to do is make sure we're getting kids that do qualify that aren't getting in there. So if it's provided for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that,
Mr.
Representative Farrar, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield?
Will the gentleman yield?
gladly yield.
Representative Rodriguez, I just wanted to recount if you had this experience that I experienced in my district. I had a school I don't know if you're familiar with Houston, but in the Heights, an elementary school, and the principal there told me that although those are students of mixed income, actually some of the students their parents do quite well. But because of the mix, she said, this was years ago, that she decided to put all the students on free and reduced meals, particularly breakfast. She said, because that way you never know what the situations are in families, and sometimes in the more well-to-do families there just isn't the time. But she said that kind of put everybody on equal footing, and her priority was to make sure that all those students were prepared to learn. Is that something that you've experienced in your district?
I have experienced that in my district as well.
Thank you.
So this gives them that option to be able to provide that for those students.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, Mr. Speaker, I move.
I love the Catholic Church.
For what purpose, Representative Fallon?
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
I yield.
Gentleman yields.
Do you realize, sir, that do you know what the average cost of a serving of oatmeal costs?
Say it one more time. The average cost of what?
Average cost of a serving of oatmeal.
Serving. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
A serving of oatmeal.
Of oatmeal?
Yeah, like a good breakfast.
I'm not sure.
It ranges from anywhere from as high as 13 cents to as low as 3 cents. So I don't know how necessary this would be, considering the incredibly low cost of food. And
it allows the schools to get some federal reimbursement dollars is the reason why. And it allows them to cover that we don't want to, even if it's only cost 13 cents, which you're only assuming it's oatmeal that they're going to be serving, if we can allow these schools to get some federal money back to help cover that 13 cents, I think we would all agree we'd rather that happen.
And we do agree that there's a $17 trillion debt, so federal dollars aren't necessarily free and falling from the sky or picking up a tree.
The program, whether you like it or not, the program is in place at the federal level, and the dollars are already there.
And that was, sir, that was the highest estimate is 13 cents. It's as low as 3 cents, so I don't really think this is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, members, I move passage.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Davis of Harris.
For
what purpose?
To ask a few questions.
Question?
I yield.
Would the gentleman yield? Gentleman yields.
The question I need to know is the opt-out. Is that a district-wide opt-out, or can individual schools opt out?
My understanding is individual schools can opt out
Okay.
within the districts.
All right, thank you.
Yes. With that, members, and Mr. Speaker, I move passage.
Members, the question occurs for final passage of Senate Bill 376. With 73 ayes and 58 nays, Senate Bill 376 finally passes.